What if you could speak to the person you will become 10 years from now? What would he tell you? Would he thank you for the decisions you're making today, or regret them? I want to tell you a story. Not just a story, but a mirror. Something that made me rethink the way I wake up, how I work, and how I look in my own life. Because once, many years ago, I realized something strange. We are all already speaking to our future self, not with words, but with our actions. There was a man named Daniel. He wasn't special, at least not in a way the world would notice. He worked long hours, always dreamed of more, but every day felt the same. Wake up, rush to work, come home tired, repeat. You know that feeling when life turns into a loop and you don't even remember what your dreams look like? One night, something unusual happened. Daniel fell asleep on his couch, exhausted, and had a dream so vivid it felt like reality. He found himself standing in a quiet room, warm light falling on a wooden table, and across that table sat him, but older, little tired, but wiser, calmer, more certain about who he was. His future self looked at him and said, "You don't understand how important today is. You waste days like you have millions of them. You think you'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes unless you build it." That line hit me deeply because I've lived through the same thing. How many times have I postponed my life? I'll start next week, next month, next year. But time doesn't wait. It doesn't care that you're tired or scared. It moves with or without you. Daniel asked his future self, "What should I do?" The older version smiled and said, "You already know, you just avoid it." That moment reminds me of my own life. There was a time when I had a dream, a huge one, but I did everything except working on it. I studied it, talked about it, planned it, watched videos about it, but didn't move. And one day, something clicked. Planning is not progress. You can read 100 books about swimming, but you'll still drown until you touch the water. Daniel looked confused. "But what if I fail?" he asked. "Okay." The future self leaned forward and said, "Fail? You already are failing by not starting." That line stayed with me, because it's true. You can fail by trying, but you fail even harder by doing nothing. And you know what? Most people don't realize they are building their future self with every small decision. Every hour wasted, every step avoided, every ill, do it later, shapes the version of you that you will meet in 5, 10, 20 years. I once heard a quote, "Your future self is watching you through memories." That's powerful and scary, because one day you will remember this exact moment. How you chose to continue living the same way, or finally changed something. Back in the dream, Daniel asked, "Then, who are you? Are you really me?" The older man said, "I'm the version of you that you will become if you start today." And suddenly, Daniel realized something important. The future is not a place we arrive at by accident. It's a place we build, like a house, brick by brick, choice by choice. Let me share something personal. There was a moment in my life when everything felt stuck. I had no motivation, no clarity, and honestly, a lot of fear. I felt like I was running, but on a treadmill. And one day, I asked myself, what would my future self say if he saw me right now? I imagined him disappointed, frustrated, maybe even angry. He'd say, "Why are you wasting my life?" And that was enough to push me into action. Sometimes, motivation isn't fireworks or big speeches. Sometimes, motivation is responsibility. Responsibility to yourself. In Daniel's dream, the future self gave him one final message. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start, okay? Even when it's boring, even when it's slow, even when no one sees the progress. Because I see it, it's because of it. That's the truth of life. Most people quit because they don't see results fast enough. But progress is a seed. You water it long before you see anything grow, okay? Yes, it's hard. Discipline is boring, work on your goals, sacrifice pleasure, and most days, nothing happens. But let me tell you something important. The results are always invisible at first. Always. There's a saying I love. One day you will wake up and everything will be different, 'cause the small steps you took finally caught up with you. Daniel woke up from that dream, sweating, shocked, but something in him had changed. He looked at his room, messy and chaotic, just like his life. And instead of lying back down, he stood up, cleaned, wrote a list, and for the first time in years, started. Not a big leap, not a dramatic transformation, just one step, then another. And that's the point I want you to hear. Your future self doesn't need you to be extraordinary today. He just needs you to not give up, to not delay your life, to begin. I learned one thing the hard way. We become the person we practice being. If you practice quitting, you become someone who quits. If you practice discipline, you become someone unstoppable. And if you practice believing in yourself, even just a little, you become someone who actually makes it. So here's my message to you, and maybe to myself too. Close your eyes tonight and imagine your future self. What does he look like? What does he feel like? Is he proud of you or waiting for you to finally start? 'Cause that version of you is real. He already exists in potential. It's reaching by the choices you make starting right now. And maybe, just maybe, if you listen closely, you'll hear him whisper, "I'm waiting. But don't be late."